It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Good morning, and welcome to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. It is Thursday morning, January 8th, 2026. It's time now for the Morning Rundown, brought to you by our friends at the Glock Store. The Glock Store, located just a few miles from the airport, right here in Nashville, Tennessee. So here we go. Here's a morning rundown for Thursday, January 8th, 2026. Number one, 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good was shot and killed by an ICE officer in Minneapolis yesterday after she rammed her SUV into him following a day of impeding ICE operations there. Number two, Soy Boy. Jacob Fry, the mayor of Minneapolis, got up and incited violence within an hour or so of her death. And in fact, he had a message for ICE. Get the F out of Minneapolis. And he didn't. I mean, he elaborated on it. So that was not good at all. Number three, we've got a police chief there misrepresented the situation. Absolutely. He said, oh, yeah, she was just there minding her own business. Well, no, she wasn't. She literally ran her SUV into the police officer there. Number four, Governor Tim Walz says, we, Minnesota, the state of Minnesota, we're at war with the federal government, and it's a rogue ICE agent responsible for this. It's your patriotic duty to protest. Really? Number five, Capitol Hill, the Minnesota fraud testimony, overwhelming. We'll have some of that for you. Number seven, even more fraud in, wait for it, California. J.D. Vance talked about that. Number eight, the Tennessee Democrat Party has officially reacted with a tweet echoing the words of Jacob Fry. We'll have more on that with Tom Pappard in hour two. Number nine, we welcome to our microphones the original All-Star panelist, Crom Carmichael. Hello, Crom.
Greetings, kind sir, and Happy New Year to you and our listeners.
Yeah, we'll get to more in just a bit.
Yes.
Number 10, Tom Zalestowski will join us in hour two, talking about Somali fraud in Columbus, Ohio. And number 11, Aaron Gulbinson will join us from the Tennessee Conservative Coalition in hour three. Crom, this is where I get to talk about our friends at the Glock Store, Lenny McGill. For years now, you've been hearing me talk about how the Glock Store is everything Glock. Well, that's why Lenny named it the Glock Store, right? Makes sense. Well, have you heard about the latest Glocks, the Gen 6? Well, Lenny has. Lenny tells me the new Gen 6 Glocks have a new optic system. It's called RTF6 texturing, an enlarged beaver tail, flat face trigger guard undercut, and an integrated thumb rest, also known as the gas pedal. To be honest, I don't know what most of that means, Crom, but Lenny McGill knows what it means. In fact, Lenny tells me the Gen 6 Glocks are definitely the most refined Glocks ever produced. And Glocks are great, but they've improved it with the Gen 6. As you might expect, the Glock Store has already received their first shipment of Gen 6 G17s, 19s, and 45s, and they were literally gone before they even arrived at the warehouse. That's because the Glock Store is letting you pre-order these new Glocks, so you'll be the first one to get your hands on one. And as a thank you for your pre-order, you'll get an extra magazine when you receive your new Gen 6 Glock. Here's what you do. Go to GlockStore.com, click on the Gen 6 tab at the top of the website. Place your pre-order for the Glock or Glocks of your choice. When they ship your new Glock to the FFL of your choice, or pick it up at the Glock Store retail showroom here in Nashville, the Glock Store will throw in an extra magazine. Now, this is a limited time offer, only for pre-orders, and only for my friends, from my friends at the Glock Store, the number one source for Glock parts and accessories. The new Gen 6 Glocks. Visit GlockStore.com Gen6.com today. I promise you'll be glad you did. Gen 6. That sounds like with all the unrest going on, wouldn't be a bad idea to pick up a Gen 6.
I would, yes. Where there is much unrest.
Okay, so here's the story. Yesterday, you've seen a lot of these clips of the shooting.
Yes, I have.
And the clips that are most illuminating are the clips that show the SUV accelerating at the ICE officer in front of her, while another officer is trying to get her to open the door, which she refuses to do, and she's refusing a lawful order.
And she was told to
step
out of the vehicle.
Step out of the vehicle.
Yeah.
She didn't do it.
Right.
And instead, she accelerated towards an ICE officer. She hit him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, this is wintry Minneapolis with icy streets.
Mm-hmm.
You get hit by an accelerating SUV, you're in trouble. So he shot her and killed her.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lawful, it was a reasonable response there. We've got a clip here. This is where the wife, this is a woman, Renee Nicole Good. There's a lot more about her background, but apparently the plates on the SUV were from Missouri. They just moved up to Minneapolis with her wife. The wife was filming all of this.
Okay.
Almost as if they were coaching a tactical attack, almost, and documenting it. And
why is it almost?
I'm being.
I mean, they were documenting.
Yeah.
They were documenting what they were doing.
You are correct, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's play the clip right now. Yeah. Clip 1.
Get the fuck out of our neighborhood.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. There we go. And that woman in the plaid is the alleged wife there. We've got the clip. Well, I guess the audio isn't coming in very well. We had to there were some bad words.
Bad words.
Yeah. But basically in that she said, "We're new here."
Jacob Fry words.
Jacob Fry words,
yes.
Yeah. Also, late last night, the communist leftists, the paid protesters, were out in force, encouraged by the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Fry.
Mm-hmm. And paid for by
George Soros and that crowd.
Soros and the billionaire
CCP
crowd.
billionaires.
Yeah.
And encouraged also to go out and do their, quote, patriotic duty by Tim Walz to protest. Mm-hmm. Here's a little clip of their protest. Clip 2.
ICE out now! ICE out now! ICE out now!
That's a couple thousand people. Mm-hmm. They're all organized and paid for by leftist billionaires. Mm-hmm. And they're insurrectionists, Crom.
Mm-hmm. You could make that very strong argument. Yeah.
Here's what Kristi Noem had to say about the whole thing. Clip 3.
Because of the adverse weather that Minneapolis has seen in recent snow, one of the vehicles became stuck and ensnared in the snow. Law enforcement were attempting to push out this vehicle, and when a mob of agitators that were harassing them all day began blocking them in, shouting at them, and impeding law enforcement operations. ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism.
Okay, so Crom, you saw it. He was there. She hit him.
Yeah.
She hit him.
Yeah, she hit him, and he shot her. And under the law, a car is considered a moving car.
Yeah.
With the driver intending to run over you is the same thing as a gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, when we come back, we've got some eyewitness testimony confirming that the, quote, victim was impeding ICE. Back after this.
How much did you win at Rosie's Gaming Emporium?
Hi, I'm Jerry from Richmond. I won a $23,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
I'm Tammy. I'm from Newport News, and I just won a $5,400 jackpot from Rosie's.
Hi, my name is Kim, and I'm from West Virginia, and I won $99,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
Are you ready? Learn more about Rosie's rewards and jackpots at rosiesgaming.com. Must be 18 or older. Problem gambling? Call 1-888-532-3500.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
What happens in Virginia doesn't stay in Virginia. It influences policy and policymakers nationwide. The VirginiaStar.com shines a light on the issues in VA that become issues for the USA, with insightful commentary that gets to the fact of the matter. The VirginiaStar.com is your source of wisdom and truth, locally, statewide, and nationally. Log on today and every day. The VirginiaStar.com. The VirginiaStar.com.
My Patriot Supply, America's most trusted survival food company, wishes you and yours a very Merry Christmas. As our gift to you, we've got an amazing deal on survival food kits. Buy one, gift two. That's right, for a limited time, when you grab our best-selling 4-week emergency food kit, we'll include 2 1-week kits free to hand out as gifts. That's 4 weeks of emergency food for you, and 2 ready-to-give gifts for anyone on your list who's into preparedness, or anyone who needs a nudge in that direction. But they're only available for a limited time. Grab yours at mypatriotsupply.com and give the gift of food security this Christmas. With 2,000 calories per day, 16 delicious meal and snack varieties, and up to 25-year shelf life, it's no wonder our 4-week food kit is the best-selling emergency food supply of all time. But the buy one, give two Christmas special won't last long. So claim yours now at mypatriotsupply.com. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. In studio, the original All-Star panelist, Crom Carmichael. Crom, what is the fundamental issue going on here?
Michael, what's going on in Minnesota is not unique to Minnesota. It's in many, many states. And I'm not going to say that red states are completely immune, but the amount of fraud on these programs in red states is considerably less than the amount of fraud that's in blue states. But the problem is that what allows this fraud to happen is, and I will give you kind of some simple things. If you were to give me $1, and every time you gave me $1, I gave you $2, how many times would you give me $1?
An infinite number of times.
Yes, and this is the problem we have, and I'm going to take this in a number of different areas. But in Medicaid, the federal government will give a state $2 for every $1 that the state itself spends on Medicaid in the boundaries of that state. And each state administers its own Medicaid program. The federal government doesn't administer any of it. It just simply gives money. In Obamacare, for every $1 a state spends on Obamacare, the federal government contributes $4. And on the expansion of Obamacare, for every 7 cents that a state spent, the federal government gave 93 cents. So the incentives for states to run up the expenses and to spend as much money as possible on these programs where the federal government pays for the vast majority of it, and in some cases almost all of it, the incentives, because it actually bolsters the economy of the states that are committing the fraud.
Yeah, if a blue state commits fraud, they get more in their economy.
Yeah.
And
from the federal government,
which is basically subsidized also by a lot of red states.
Right. And then, or subsidized by the debt, which is going to harm the whole country. So let me just give you just 2 states that are fascinating to me, because I went and looked and I said, okay, I'm going to do a broad brush to try to look at this thing. The state of California has 34 million people. On Medicaid alone, it spends $130 billion a year. So that is $3,900 per person on Medicaid. Now, not everybody in California is on Medicaid, but it just gives you an idea of the amount of spending. Florida has 24 million people. It spends $1,300 per person. So California is spending 3 times as much as Florida. Now, and then I went and I said, okay, well, how much does the average doctor make in Florida? How much does the average doctor make in California? It's the same. So when they say, well, the cost of living expenses are so much greater, that's false. And so what you have is you have blue states that have figured out that in order to boost their economies and to help their own economy, the way to do it is, frankly, to defraud the federal government.
The state governments in blue states are defrauding the federal government.
Yeah, and the federal employees and the state employees are okay with it because they're members of government employee unions where they benefit, where a lot of the money that is involved in the fraud filters back into the Democrat Party, which then elects the officials that then give pay raises to the very people who are administering and doctoring the fraud.
Well, there was testimony yesterday in Capitol Hill about this very issue. Clip 26, the Minnesota Department of Health and Human Services apparently was fabricating documents.
Yes.
Let's play this clip.
Yeah.
According to the nonpartisan legislative auditor, this is another case of mismanagement of taxpayer money. But perhaps the most explosive revelation is that managers within DHS, the Department of Human Services, tried to cover their tracks by backdating and creating new documents.
But I do want to talk about what a serious issue this is and how it is, frankly, unacceptable.
Another sobering report by the Office of the Legislative Auditor, this one concerning the Behavioral Health Administration within the Department of Human Services, which issues grants to providers treating mental health and drug and alcohol addiction, hundreds of millions of dollars each year. The audit found them issuing grants to applicants without a bidding process.
So what we saw is that there was multiple entities that could have been eligible, and they chose not to provide a justification for why they were picking those.
This report is quite stunning.
One outrageous example, the auditors found a grantee that was paid $672,000 for 1 month of work without any info on what they do. And the audit says the grant manager who paid it then left DHS a couple days later and became a paid consultant for that company.
Okay, stop. I mean, this is
now
blatant.
Now, you know, when Kamala Harris became the Democrat nominee, within about 2 weeks, she raised $1.5 billion in 2 weeks. That comes from the people who are the beneficiaries of all this fraud. In other words, they have a vested interest in maintaining the system of fraud. And let me say this, Michael, our country will not survive if this is where we're headed. And here's what is particularly troubling: the hearing in Washington D.C. The Democrat members of Congress who are there to ask questions of the people who are testifying about the fraud, they wanted to talk about anything other than the fraud. They were asking questions about the silliest topics simply to distract. Which is an indication that they themselves know that this fraud is going on. So the idea of a Democrat now, and this is a terrible thing to have to say, the idea of a Democrat saying I'm opposed to waste, fraud, and abuse, if they actually mean it, they will be drummed out of the Democrat Party.
They will. Here's an example of actually a Republican asking questions there, and he was very good. This is Brandon Gill from Texas. Here we go.
Again, thank you for being here. Let me ask you, does large-scale Somali immigration make Minnesota stronger or weaker?
Certainly stronger.
Certainly stronger. Do you know what percentage of Somali-headed households in Minnesota are on food stamps?
No.
54%. Do you know what that number is for native Minnesota-headed households?
Well, to be clear, a majority of the...
It's 7%. There's a big difference between 54% and 7%, is there not?
Excuse me, sir, could I answer the question?
Let me move on. We've got a lot of questions here. What percentage of Somali-headed households in Minnesota are on Medicaid?
I don't know.
It's 73%. Do you know what that number is for Minnesota native households?
Again, you're using the phrase Minnesota native households, but the majority...
The number is 18%. That's quite an astounding difference. I think we would agree.
Can I answer the question, please?
Let me ask you one more, and then we can go on to that. What percentage of Somali-headed households are on welfare in general?
I don't know.
It's 81%. What about, let me just ask you, after 10 years of being in the United States, what percentage of Somali immigrant households continue to be on welfare?
I don't know.
The number is 78%. So even after 10 years, 78% of Somali immigrant households continue to be on welfare. Do you know what that number is for native Minnesota-headed households?
Again, you're using
non-Somali immigrant-headed households.
If I can just answer the question, when you're using the phrase native Minnesotans, the majority of Somali Minnesotans are as Minnesotan as any of us. They were born in the United States. It's only 8,000 of the 108,000 Somali.
Nevertheless, the welfare usage is astoundingly different. Let me ask you again, does that make Minnesota stronger or weaker?
Again, I'd like the opportunity to answer the question here. Again, the majority of Somali Minnesotans are born in the United States, as I understand it.
Okay, well, what percentage of working-age Somalians who have been in the U.S. for 10 years or more, how many of them speak English very well?
I don't know.
About half.
Okay, so Crom.
The answer's
So
there's a state bureaucrat.
Yeah, state bureaucrat who says that the Somali population benefits Minnesota, but can't answer a single question that would support the argument that they benefit Minnesota. and the congressman
Brandon Gill.
Yeah, he's very good at that type of questioning because he gets right to the heart of the matter.
He doesn't allow the leftists to distract
Well,
him.
if 80% of the population of any state was on welfare, the state would
implode.
It would implode and people would starve.
Right.
Because you can't have everybody who is sitting around waiting for somebody else to give them something. And the problem in Minnesota in particular is that the Democrats have controlled the state for more than a decade, completely, all three chambers, for more than a decade, and they are part of the fraud, and the Somali population, which is the recipient of the fraud, recycles a portion of that money to the Democrat Party, and so it just continues, and the effect of it is to ruin the Somali population in Minnesota because there's no need to work if you can commit fraud and survive.
And on that note, we'll have more.
And actually prosper.
We'll have more when we get back. It's not just Minnesota.
Correct.
Back with Crom Carmichael after this.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
The math is simple. Every dollar we waste on unnecessary federal supervision is a dollar we can't use to fight violent crime. The Safer Supervision Act cuts bureaucratic waste and frees up law enforcement resources to protect families from serious threats. Law enforcement officers across the country and Republicans in Congress agree this is a smarter way to improve public safety. Stop the waste, protect our communities, fix federal supervision. Visit safersupervision.com to help. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Ponder this. Most of us are familiar with social media influencers. You know, people that claim expertise on some probably irrelevant topic. Many hours are wasted following people online who do not add an ounce of value to our lives. There is only one influencer who matters, and you should be following him and his messages every day. He holds the keys to our peace. He shows us how to live lives of meaning. He is there to help us carry our daily crosses. He is Jesus Christ, and he is the influencer extraordinaire. Are you one of his followers? Or are you wasting time with useless information that will not bring peace and love to your life? Ask the Lord each day to provide you with spiritual influence that will change your life forever. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
1775 Coffee is giving away free starter kits. Try the dark or medium roast coffee with longevity blend, an infused blend with anti-aging supplements clinically proven to reduce biological age. When you purchase the first 2 bags, you'll receive a free 1775 starter kit, including a third 16-ounce bag of coffee, a matte black tumbler, a frother, a gold scoop, or a reusable K-cup filter. Just order now at 1775coffee.com/Godzilla and claim your free 1775 starter kit while supplies last.
My fellow Americans, I have to tell you about my good friends at D.T. McCall & Sons. They have furniture and appliances and a lot more. They've been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, and they're not going to rip you off. No hidden charges, no delivery charges, no charges for all of the crazy things. These are sick people at the lumber yards. These are very sick people. They charge you for cords and hoses and haul off. They charge you for all of these things. They call them hidden charges. It's the type of surprise that you don't want to see. It's like an October surprise, but it's worse. D.T. McCall & Sons, they're not going to do that. They're great people. They're going to give you a great deal. With locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, D.T. McCall & Sons will give you the deal of your life. Check them out today or go to dtmccalls.com.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. The original All-Star panelist, Crom Carmichael, in studio. Crom, we have a breaking story.
Oh, good.
From Just the News. Kash Patel, director of the FBI, says the FBI is investigating organizers, funders of the anti-ICE protests for impeding law enforcement. FBI Director Kash Patel told Just the News on Thursday, that would be today, that his agents are this is by John Solomon, that his agents are investigating the organizers and funders of anti-immigration enforcement protests for impeding law enforcement activities and endangering public safety. Quote, the FBI is investigating paid protest campaigns throughout the country, including organizers, protesters, and funding sources that drive illicit activities. So,
may I
sure.
give if Director Patel is listening to our show, or your show, I would suggest that he post a $100,000 reward to people who lead to give information that leads to arrests and convictions of the funders. The organizers and the funders.
The protests appear to be organized by a Chinese Communist Party-linked financial network in the United States. Media outlets such as Xinhua News Agency, China Daily, China Global Television, and the Global Times, all directly run by the Chinese Communist Party, in turn promoted the pro-Maduro protest organized by these same groups, as the Chinese government repeatedly denounced actions taken by President Trump in Venezuela and Latin America. Yeah, this is a destabilization plan by the Chinese Communist Party
and certain billionaires. Certain other billionaires who some of them are American billionaires
and some are
and some are European billionaires.
Swiss guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to this problem that we have of blue state governments with blue state union employees engaging in fraud for the purpose of sucking money from the federal government and then distributing it to Democrat politicians and their constituencies, illegal immigrants.
Which also then boosts the economy of the states through fraud.
Well, J.D. Vance was talking with Jesse Waters about this. California is up next. Here we go. Let's just listen to J.D. Vance talk about this with Jesse Waters.
I believe, Jesse, we're going to have some very big announcements on this stuff in the next couple of days. I don't want to get ahead of the president on anything, but we believe that there is a nationwide fraud ring that's rooted in rooted in illegal aliens and others taking advantage of the American welfare system. We're going to get to the root of it, and anybody who's involved is going to get prosecuted.
Well, if there's a...
Okay, so, Crom, what is the policy solution for this nationwide fraud ring?
Well, first of all, the reason that the fraud is so widespread and so beneficial to states that engage in the most fraud is that the federal government funds it, and so it's not paid for. The burden is not on, for example, in California or in Minnesota, any of these states where there's rampant fraud. The citizens of those states are not the ones paying the taxes that are going to the fraudsters. They're only paying a small portion of it, and the federal government is the one contributing the rest of it.
And the red states,
and
like
then,
Tennessee.
And then all the money, all that money, the federal and the state, is then spent within the state in question, which boosts the economy of that state, and then the money circles. It's like a laundry. They're washing the money and giving it back, giving a portion of it back to the Democrat Party. So the solution is this. The solution is the federal government for all social programs, not Social Security and not Medicare, because they are actually managed differently. They're managed out of Washington.
The Social Security, all of those payments are made from Washington,
From
D.C.
Washington.
They don't go through the state.
And Medicare is a federally run program also, not a state-run program. But all of the other welfare programs are administered by individual states. What the federal government should do is they should say, okay, if you've got a population of 20 million people in your state, we're going to give you 20 million times X, a block grant. You spend it to make sure that the low-income people in your state are properly taken care of. If they commit a bunch of fraud in the process, then they're going to be harming their own low-income citizens. So what you do is you say, this is all you're going to get. Any more money that you spend is going to be taxed on the people of your own state. And this goes back, quite frankly, Michael, to the Articles of Confederation, the ideas there, and what we learned that didn't work in the Articles of Confederation, and then the Constitution. And so the burden of management fully needs to be on the states. Now, in a perfect world, the federal government wouldn't be involved at all. But we don't have a perfect world at this point.
Really?
Right.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Crom.
So the solution is block grants. Now, Tennessee, for example, years ago, Tennessee applied for our Medicaid to be block granted to us. And I'm not sure about this. So if you can check me and correct me if I'm wrong, I think our Medicaid money coming from Washington is a block grant. And then we manage the money on how it's handled here in Tennessee. And I think we do a very good job.
So we've been talking actually with some sources familiar with how this is managed in the state government.
Oh, okay.
And here's what they tell us. The fraudsters tried to do this in Tennessee, but the state government found it out.
Okay.
Particularly, I think it was in the comptroller's office that stopped it.
Okay.
Right? And so there's very little in the state of Tennessee because we have actually relatively honest government at the state level.
Yeah.
Here in the state of Tennessee. Now, interestingly enough, during the Biden administration, the feds didn't do anything to follow up on any of that stuff. But I think the bottom line is the overarching theme here right now is there is in fact a Democrat Party illegal alien immigrant fraud ring going on, and it's been going on for decades.
Government employee union hierarchy
Exactly.
is all part of it.
Exactly. And frankly, if you want to improve affordability, Crom, I think probably the best thing you can do is cut out that fraud.
Sure. Absolutely.
And cut out how much of our debt as a country is going to support fraud.
The fraud that is spent within a state boosts the economy of that state, but also boosts inflation. So if you're dishonest living in that state, you benefit. If you are an honest, hardworking person in that state, you lose because the inflation from the excessive amount of money that's poured into the state drives up the prices of the things that hardworking people are trying to buy.
We've got a clip. I think, can you bring up clip 28, which is going to illustrate your point. And here's the thing. We do have a culture of dishonesty in countries like Somalia. We have a culture of dishonesty in blue states. I mean, absolutely.
Yes.
Here's an example. In the state of Minnesota, the Department of Human Services, apparently there's like 1,000 whistleblowers. But the deal is, if you are a whistleblower and you point out the fraud, Tim Walz will fire you.
Yes.
Clip 28.
You have any doubt that Governor Tim Walz knew about this fraud as it was occurring?
He absolutely knew that it was occurring.
Thank you. The Housing Stability Services Program was estimated to cost about $2.6 million per year, but before it was shut down last October, it was on track to run about $122 million in 2025. In fact, I think they sucked $161 million out of it from the point it started in 2020 until it was finally shut down. Isn't that correct?
That is correct, and Joe Thompson believes that 90% of that was fraud.
Yeah. The Quality Learing Center, as uncovered by Nick Shirley, received almost $10 million in funding. Is that accurate?
I believe it is.
There are more than 80 autism centers in Minnesota under investigation. Is that true?
I believe it is, yes.
It's clear that someone is criminally complicit. You can't just let this amount of money get out of your administration over a period of 7 years without knowing. There was a hearing in the state regarding the fraudulent housing stabilization program, but before that hearing, Governor Walz fired the official who was slated to testify so that they could not testify and expose what was happening under Governor Walz's watch. Has Governor Walz or Attorney General Ellison fired anyone else to your knowledge, Representative?
Not to my knowledge, and that was Eric Rumdahl, and his administration believes that he was not fired, but I say he was fired because it was too convenient.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's an evil system.
Yeah.
Because unless you turn a blind eye to fraud, you'll lose your job.
Yeah.
If you work for for Tim Walz's Minnesota state government.
Yeah, but the way the federal government funds it incentivizes bad people to do terrible things.
Yeah.
And then it rewards those same people because there's so much money that comes back to them in the form of laundered money. And that's what, in Minnesota it's very interesting because Minnesota is a very blue state the way it is operated, but it's not a very blue state at the legislative level. In other words, Republicans are almost in the majority, but they're not in the House. They're almost in the majority in the Senate, but they're not. It'll be very interesting in this upcoming election to see how this fraud in Minnesota plays because the Democrats, the elected Democrats in Minnesota, they know this is going on
They
too.
know.
They
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see if the Minnesota voters decide that fraud is good.
Well,
so it'll be interesting to watch.
There's one caveat here. There's also election fraud going on there in Minnesota.
Fair enough.
And here's how they qualify you to vote.
Yeah.
You don't have to show your ID. If a single person vouches for you,
up to 8 people.
Yeah.
A single person can vouch for 8 people on election day.
Right. Which is a fraudulent activity.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Crom, in terms of election results, until that process and procedure is declared illegal and stopped, the Democrats will keep winning in Minnesota.
Yep.
Right?
There'll have to be an overwhelming. You have to beat the margin of fraud. But I will also say this. It's very possible that in these upcoming elections in Minnesota, it could be that Republicans are now so aware of this that they actually have poll watchers and they are looking for, and they are allowed to look, because legally they can. That's a federal law.
You know who has taken an interest in this? You can vouch for up to 8 people on Election Day?
Who?
Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Harmeet Dillon.
Ooh, and she is tough.
She's very tough.
Very tough.
All right. We'll have more when we get back. Britt Hume had a few things to say about this. Rah, 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 rah. Back with Britt Hume after this.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Get in. We're stealing homes. We're not like those other home criminals that steal your stuff. We steal your hard-earned home equity. We find your property online from the public record. Got it. Create a deed transfer that makes us the homeowners. Got it. Then borrow tons of cash against your equity, and you won't know till the foreclosure notice hits months later.
Just go to HometitleLock.com/Godzilla. Protect yourself.
When you're learning something new, experience matters. At Lifestyles Unlimited, we've spent over 30 years teaching people how real estate investing works and how to build income with a clear, step-by-step strategy. Our program is designed to help you learn what to do, why it works, and how to take action at your own pace. Join today for just $297, a 60% savings off the regular price. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Did you ever stop and think, why do the wealthy pay less taxes than we do? One reason, they take full advantage of the IRS tax code. Today's tax code is over 2 million pages. Who can read that? Remember the 2016 debate with Hillary Clinton? When asked why he doesn't pay more taxes, President Trump had the perfect answer. He said, if you don't like the current tax code, change it. I follow the very laws that you wrote. That's where Julio Gonzalez and his company, Tax Engineered Services, comes in. Julio's team looks at your taxes after they're done, but before you file them with the IRS. He doesn't get between you and your accountant. He reviews your taxes, makes his recommendations, and only gets 5 to 10% of what he saved you. No money up front, no cost. It's tax literacy for MAGA. He also sees what grants you may qualify for. For more information, text ETS to the number 26786. That's ETS to 26786. Text now.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Crime Carmichael, original All-Star panelist. You know, we really are at an inflection point in the country. The broader issue is the conflict between insurrectionist states and the rest of us, the federal government. Britt Hume from Fox News had a few words to say about that. Let's play that, clip 5.
Well, I don't think I've seen the conflict between the federal government and the states as intense as this since the civil rights movement in the 1960s, when southern states were trying to block enforcement of civil rights laws and the rest of it. This is intense. I mean, these agents, these ICE agents, had every right to be there. Indeed, one might argue they had a duty to be there. They are this nation's enforcer of the immigration laws. They certainly would like, as you heard her say, cooperation from local and other officials. But this is their job, and there's no evidence here that they weren't doing their job or doing it properly. And the way that these local officials are acting is extraordinary. And the statement that mayor made, laced with obscenities, telling the agents to get the F, and he didn't say F, out of Minnesota, is something we haven't seen in a very long time indeed. I can't believe that across the country this will sit well with the public.
Crom?
Well, here's what's interesting about what Brett Hume just said. He compared today to the tension between the southern states and the federal government during the civil rights era.
Yeah.
Which party dominated the politics of the South in the early 60s?
That would be the Democrat Party.
The Democrat Party dominated the politics of the South. Every state had a Democrat governor and a Democrat state legislature back around 1960. In fact, for 100 years leading up to 1960. So the DNA of the Democrat Party is a party of brute force over people they don't like.
Yeah.
That's their DNA. And so fast forward to today, it's the blue states dominated by the Democrats who once again are in tension with the federal government, which is trying to maintain the laws that are on the books in regard to immigration. And it was the Democrat Party under Biden that broke all those laws, but claimed while they were breaking the laws that they weren't breaking the laws. So it's a fascinating thing when you look at the DNA. You know, the Democrat Party is the party of slavery. It ran the South during the buildup of the Ku Klux Klan. It's the Democrat Party that passed all of the Jim Crow laws.
Yep.
It was the Democrat Party in charge that did that. And so when the Democrats claim stuff about the Jim Crow laws, they ought to be pointing the fingers at themselves because it is embedded in their DNA.
In the 1950s and the 1960s, the anti-civil rights Democrats who were resisting the federal government were in the states of Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi,
Georgia.
Yeah. But today, those neo-Confederates, shall we say,
Louisiana.
But today they're in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota, Illinois, California, and New York.
Yeah. It's really quite extraordinary, but it's the same party, and it's the same apparatus.
We've got this clip we want to play from Walter Hudson, a state rep, Republican in Minnesota, clip 16.
While Governor Tim Walz and other stakeholders dispute that assessment, the point I wish to emphasize is this. Whatever the actual number is, the full scope of the problem is not just criminal fraud, but a culture of profiting from government programs in perpetuity, not as a safety net, but as an industry. I've personally met and had discussions with folks who identify themselves as consultants for multiple entities accepting government benefits. They have made a career out of showing people how to leverage the gaps in government oversight to maximize benefit payments.
There you go, Crom.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we got.
Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying is, this is in the DNA of the Democrat Party, dating back to the birth of the Democrat Party. I mean, it's 150 years of this same. This is, slavery was an industry, and it was maintained and run by the Democrat Party. And then when the Civil War ended, and Reconstruction came in, and Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, who became president? A Democrat, who then ended Reconstruction as we knew it, and that gave rise to the Ku Klux Klan. Which interesting, the Ku Klux Klan then in the South, it hung over 4,000 black people and over 2,000 white Republicans who supported black people who were running for office. And in fact, right after the Civil War, the number of black people who were elected to state legislatures in the South was many, many, many black people were elected. And the Democrat Party hated that. They made a promise which they didn't keep. And then they ended up using terrorism through the Ku Klux Klan to destroy the black movement in the South. You're seeing the same thing now with these people who are trained by the Democrat Party and supporters of the Democrat Party to incite violence against the officials who are trying to uphold the law. It's really quite extraordinary.
One thing be interesting. President Trump said he might invoke the Insurrection Act. In Minnesota. We'll see if it continues to grow.
It is my hope that the FBI and Justice Department investigate thoroughly in Minnesota, and that the public officials and administrators are brought to justice.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Crom Carmichael, a delight as always to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us today. Up next, when we get back, Tom Pappert has the reaction of the Tennessee Democrat Party. We've got the image of it too, by the way, and we're gonna censor it, but it's not pretty. Back with Tom Pappert after this.
Is a record player the best way to listen to music? Of course not. So why are you still taking vitamins in pill form that haven't been upgraded since the 1930s? Even if you don't have trouble swallowing, most vitamins in pill form can't be absorbed very well. It's time to upgrade to the pill-free future of vitamins. Advanced nutrition company, Healthy Cell, created a patent-pending ingestible gel that is clinically proven to have 265% the absorption rate of tablets. These physician-formulated supplements come in a small gel pack. You tear off the top and shoot it down. You can also mix it in water. They taste great, they're convenient on the go, and they're more natural too, without chemical binders, fillers, and coatings. Go to HealthyCell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of any product. That's HealthyCell.com, HealthyCell.com.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
There's a number of Democratic members of Congress who are pushing for impeachment. They're not just going after the president, going after RFK Jr. and others.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
Judge Weinberg.
Listen, it's the most important midterm in our lifetime.
Cats and Cosby, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Frederick Media Network.
This is a big deal.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or Twitter at JF Radio.
WJFN W224EB 92.7 FM Chester, W299DB 107.7 Bon Air, 100.5 FM Goochland, and WJFB Portsmouth. AM.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. Amit Thomason. Quoting Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, people need to stop using their vehicles as weapons. She spoke following the fatal shooting of a motorist in Minneapolis. The driver shot dead by an ICE agent among the officers trying to enforce federal immigration law when suddenly a vehicle came at them. Noem vows that these kind of incidents will stop.
We're asking the Department of Justice to prosecute it as domestic terrorism because it's clear that it's being coordinated. People are being trained and told how to use their vehicles to impede law enforcement operations and then to run over anybody who gets in their way while they go out there and try to disrupt peace and public safety. And Americans deserve better.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz blames it on the feds.
What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear.
Noem says the agent involved in the shooting was no stranger to such violence.
In fact, the very same officer who was attacked today had previously been dragged by an anti-ICE rioter who had rammed him with a car and drug him back in June.
President Trump is proposing a big military spending hike next year.
On the heels of the U.S. military operation to capture Venezuela's leader, the president wants a $1.5 trillion defense budget for 2027. That's an increase of more than $500 billion from the current budget. The president cited troubled and dangerous times for the higher request. In a social media post, he wrote, "This will allow us to build the dream military that we have long been entitled to." Greg Clugston, Washington.
No arrests yet in yesterday's deadly shooting outside a Mormon church in Salt Lake City. 2 people killed in the parking lot as a funeral was taking place inside the building. Watching Wall Street right now, the Dow is trading about 241 points higher, while the NASDAQ is down 125. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-893-2288. That's 800-893-2288.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
President Trump is striking a new tone about Colombia and its president.
Colombia is very sick, too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States.
That was President Trump speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One Sunday in the wake of the U.S. military operation in Venezuela.
He has cocaine mills and cocaine factories. He's not going to be doing it very long.
So there will be an operation by the U.S.
It sounds good to me, yeah.
But Trump says he and his Colombian counterpart, Gustavo Petro, exchanged a friendly phone call Wednesday, posting on social media that Petro had called to explain the situation of drugs and other disagreements. Trump says he appreciated the call and Petro's tone, adding that he's invited the Colombian president to the White House. Ben Thomas, Washington.
The protests in Iran, driven by economic issues, have spread nationwide, being seen in large cities and rural small towns. News and analysis at townhall.com. The Congressional Budget Office has revised downward its forecast of U.S. population growth over the next several decades.
The Budget Office projects that the U.S. will grow from 349 million people this year to 364 million people in 30 years. The addition of 15 million people is a 2.2% smaller gain than it had predicted in 2025. In September, the Budget Office issued revised demographics showing that President Trump's plans for mass deportations and other strict immigration measures would result in roughly 320,000 people removed from the U.S. over the next 10 years. Donna Warner, Washington.
Western Pennsylvania's losing a newspaper. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette plans to shut down in May, its owners citing financial losses. Block Communications made the announcement yesterday. A couple dozen union members just recently went back to work after a 3-year strike. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Our number is 615-814-2848, 615-814-2848. And you can watch us live and in living color on our X account, Tennessee Star X account, and mine, Michael P. Leahy. Also, we're on Fire Stick and Roku and Apple TV and YouTube, so you can watch us there. We're joined right now by our lead political reporter at the Tennessee Star and the Star News Network, winner of the Dow Prize for Best Local Journalism in the country, the one, the only Tom Pappert. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Michael.
Well, Tom, you know, when there's a breaking story like this, you and I and Christina and our entire team, what we do is we dig into the details and we try to find out, well, what's really going on here. And often what's reported in the mainstream media is way off. And when we dig in, we find some truth on it. I want to talk about what we've discovered here in terms of Tennessee, reaction among Tennessee Democrats to this. We have an image that we can play. We can't say all the words, but what was the reaction of the Tennessee Democrat Party to this shooting of 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good after she impeded an ICE operation and tried to run over an ICE officer in Minneapolis?
Well, Michael, as you might expect, in 2026 now, it was profane. They said, we'll say the non-profane part, I shot and killed a woman today. Plain and simple, no matter how Trump and Republicans try to spin it. This does not make our community safer. From Minneapolis to Tennessee, the federal government under Donald Trump's command is provoking chaos and violence in our towns, cities, and communities. Then they attached an image. This is posted to all of their social media channels. We want to make one thing crystal clear, blank ICE.
Yeah, we've got the image up there, and we've cleaned it up a little bit so that it's broadcast ready. So here's the thing, Tom, on this. I was talking with Crom Carmichael about it. It seems to me that we have a growing division within our country, sort of a smaller but very focused group of leftists who hate America and do not want to allow the federal government to enforce immigration law. I mean, what the ICE agents are doing is they are identifying criminals, illegal aliens. They're focusing primarily on illegal aliens who have committed more than just the misdemeanor crime of coming into the country illegally. They are basically identifying, I mean, there's all sorts of, rape, murder, assault going on from these illegal aliens. And they're going in and they're when they get a warrant for somebody, they try to pick them up. That's what this operation was. Now, in the state of Minnesota, because it's a sanctuary state, the official law enforcement there are told do not cooperate with ICE. The logical thing would be is if you've got somebody who's an illegal alien who's committed a crime, if they've been arrested and if they are in the custody of state or local enforcement, in most red states, they'll just hold on to that person and then release them to ICE. They're not doing that in Minnesota, are they, Tom?
Well, no, it's one of the, especially Minneapolis, it's one of these sanctuaries where local law enforcement does not cooperate with ICE in any way, shape, or form. And so that means that if a violent criminal is arrested and they are found out to be an illegal immigrant, but a magistrate judge wants to give them bond, well, they'll go ahead and release that person, even if the federal government is saying, hey, we need to get this person out of the country. And by the way, from my understanding at least, that is why yesterday basically everything that we saw happened because ICE was on their own. They didn't have local police or sheriffs escorting them through the city. One of their vehicles got stuck in the snow. They had to exit the vehicle and push it out by hand. And while this happened, a group of so-called what are they calling them? Legal observers. They were rioters, parked their vehicles, blockaded the ICE vehicles, and what we all saw happened. And that, in my mind, is all downstream from the police refusing to assist federal law enforcement when it comes to immigration.
Yeah, and that's at the direction of the police won't help because at the direction of the soy boy mayor of Minneapolis, the one who told ICE to get the F out of Minnesota. In other words, don't enforce immigration law in Minnesota. It makes logical sense that somebody whose political career is advanced by the vote of this whole block of illegal alien Somali fraudsters, that guy would not want to have his constituents who are illegals and criminals thrown out of the community. That's his self-interest, obviously. But it's very interesting because they seem to be, both the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, and the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, they seem to be, aiding and abetting these anti-ICE enforcement activities. In fact, didn't we see this? The Associated Press reported this, but nobody else has followed up on it yet. Tuesday night, the night before this shooting happened, there was a training not far from the site of the event called from the Immigration Defense Network. And that's a group that basically organizes these anti-ICE activities. It looked to me like the particular street blocking operation there was, in fact, a very tactically planned event. Have we been able to find out if the deceased protester who resisted lawful orders, the Renee Nicole Good, have we been able to find out if she was part of that Immigration Defense Network?
Well, Michael, I'm digging into it, and unfortunately, this is not the type of group that publishes membership registries. But what's interesting is this is, as you said, a new tactic that is emerging not just in Minneapolis, but all across the country. And we're looking into other places this group may have conducted such training, or individuals who attended the training may have appeared, because one of the major viral responses to the shooting that happened yesterday was a woman in Charlotte, North Carolina, or purported to be. It's a TikTok video. You can't be positive, but she was saying, well, I was doing the same exact thing last week, stopping my car in the middle of the street, trying to obstruct law enforcement, etc. And it stands to reason that unless this is like the Kia Boys challenge on TikTok, where they're just seeing it and want to do the same thing, that someone somewhere, whether it's this group or another one, is telling these frankly middle-aged women without much else to do with their lives, telling them to go out and obstruct law enforcement.
Yeah, if you go to the website of the Immigration Defense Network, it just got started this year. And basically it says, quote, if you see any federal activity or have been directly impacted and need support, please call the helpline at 612 blah, 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 blah. It's got the number right there. This, it seems to me, to be quite a stunning, organized effort to defy the federal law. Your thoughts on that, Tom Pappert?
Well, it does seem that way, and we've seen similar even in Tennessee, where in Memphis there's a group who, Vecindarios, 301 or 501 is what it's called, 501. And this group does the same exact thing. They have a hotline. They show up and provide rapid response whenever there's immigration activity in the city. And what that usually means is holding up their cell phone and recording while maybe getting in the way of local law enforcement. And as I said, this is a phenomenon that seems to be emerging in every city in the country. By the way, in Memphis, they're tied to the Democratic Socialists of America and Black Lives Matter. I have a feeling the same is going to be true when we investigate this group in Minneapolis and when we investigate the groups all over the country.
Tom, stick around. We want to look more into the background of the deceased woman, Renee Nicole Good. Back with Tom Pappert after this.
If you've tried everything for cheek redness or breakouts and nothing works, it's not your fault. The real cause might be deeper than you think. Introducing Clear Skin Ivermectin Cream from The Wellness Company, a prescription-strength, dermatologist-developed formula that helps reduce inflammation, balance bacteria, and restore your skin's natural glow. This triple-action cream combines 3 medical-grade ingredients for powerful results. Azelaic acid to unclog pores and fade dark spots, metronidazole to control bacterial imbalance and redness, and ivermectin to calm irritation and eliminate skin parasites that contribute to rosacea and acne. Together, these ingredients work to reduce bumps, swelling, and redness while supporting smoother, healthier, and more radiant skin over time. Formulated and compounded in the United States, this FDA-approved cream is trusted by doctors for visible and lasting results. Experience clear, confident skin with the Wellness Company's Clear Skin Ivermectin Cream. U.S. residents only. Head to twc.health/Godzilla and use code Godzilla to save $20 off, plus free shipping.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
The math is simple. Every dollar we waste on unnecessary federal supervision is a dollar we can't use to fight violent crime. The Safer Supervision Act cuts bureaucratic waste and frees up law enforcement resources to protect families from serious threats. Law enforcement officers across the country and Republicans in Congress agree this is a smarter way to improve public safety. Stop the waste, protect our communities, fix federal supervision. Visit safersupervision.com to help. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
There's a number of Democratic members of Congress who are pushing for impeachment, not just going after the president, going after RFK Jr. and others.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
Judge Weinberg.
Listen, it's the most important midterm in our lifetime.
Cats and Cosby, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Frederick Media Network.
This is a big deal.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
This is State Senator Mark Pouty. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pouty.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pouty, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Tom Pappert, our lead political reporter. We're diving into the background of this 37-year-old woman. Her name was Renee Nicole Good. Actually, Renee Nicole, what's her other name? Her Malkin Good, who was Macklin. Thank you, Macklin Good. A weird personal background. 37 years old, originally supposedly from California, has 2 children from her first husband, allegedly, a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old. I guess they live in Colorado. Was married to Timmy Macklin for a period of time, who was apparently an Air Force veteran, graduated from Old Dominion University in 2022, was a poet, allegedly, and there's a kind of a weird poem that she left up. And this Timmy Macklin died in 2023. She had a son with Timmy Macklin back around 2020 or so. But then somehow she left Virginia, and this Timmy Macklin fellow died out in Oregon in 2023. There's one report that said he had PTSD. He dies in May of 2023. In October of 2023, she is in Kansas and changes her name from Renee Nicole Macklin to Renee Nicole Good. And the reason she does that is because she's now living with her alleged wife in Kansas City. That seems to me, and so she has a 3-year-old son at that time. That seems like a really weird background.
Well, it does. It seems as though she and her husband were both musicians. At some point, they were also apparently in Colorado. It's not entirely clear, to be completely honest, how these people made money, what they did for work, what was taking them between all these states. But it does seem as though it's a rather almost sad picture of rootless people who never really found their meaning in life. I've got some of that poetry. It's not quite too vulgar. I could read it. This is from 2020. It's titled "On Learning to Dissect Fetal Pigs." This is just an excerpt. "I've donated Bibles to thrift stores, mashed them in plastic trash bags with an acidic Himalayan salt lamp. The post-baptism Bibles, the ones plucked from street corners with the meaty hands of zealots, the dumbed-down, easy-to-read, parasitic kind." So an anti-Christian text, and this is, it goes on for 3 more pages of this.
That sounds pretty anti-Christian to me, and a kind of a bizarre life where it's like she's got 2 kids that are living with the first husband, and there's no indication she had any contact with them in Colorado. And then she has this other child with this man, Air Force veteran, who dies young, at the age of 36. And then 3 months later, she changes her name and she's living with her lesbian lover, supposedly to whom she's married. No evidence of a marriage. And then what kind of started all this off is if you look at the SUV, it's got that was involved that she was driving. A couple things that are odd about it. It has Missouri plates. Also, it had some 8 or so stickers on the side. Were you able to decipher what those stickers were?
Well, one of them in particular is what first pointed us, I think, toward Kansas, or at least the Kansas City metro area. And that was the top left sticker that she had on the back of the SUV is actually for a Kansas City football club, as in soccer. And not a very popular type of event, as you might imagine, not when you have the Royals and the Kansas City Chiefs both within 15-20 minutes of the soccer stadium. So that led us to think this woman must have some serious ties to the Kansas City metropolitan area.
Yeah, and the change of name happened in a Jackson County, Missouri, that's Kansas City, Missouri, courtroom in October 2023. Now, the other part about this is, apparently, they just moved to Minneapolis. And I saw one report that said, well, they made money in real estate management. That seems a little bit unlikely to me, but that's what what it said. I think it'd be worth looking into to see if there were any of these left-wing groups that were paying her or her spouse, the woman who was the spouse. Now, also with regards to this particular operation, it seemed to be pretty tactical. In other words, it seemed to be prepared and tactical. And the reports were that the woman who was killed was leading, like, dozens of cars in stopping the ICE operation. And according to Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, she had been tagging or stalking ICE throughout the day. When you look at that clip, it did look like this was a tactical operation. But what struck me is her wife, it's a purported wife, was in a flannel shirt outside the vehicle filming this operation. And then afterwards, there was a report in the New York Post that had the wife, after Good had been shot and hit the other vehicles with her car. She was apparently crying and saying, "I caused this. I forced her to come here." None of this seemed to add up to me. Tom, your thoughts?
Well, it does seem to be very organized, and I would say this is escalating. I think it began as a social media trend. We saw this in Tennessee, not just in Memphis, but in Nashville, where State Representative Afton Ben was in a vehicle a few months ago in May of 2025, bragging, saying, "We're bullying ICE vehicles. Isn't this so funny?" And what she was doing was she was following them around, parking her vehicle behind them at traffic stops. I mean, forget ICE. Leave ICE out of this. Say it's the FBI. This is federal law enforcement we're talking about. Could you imagine the gall of an American citizen or otherwise to follow an FBI agent around, park your car behind them, park your vehicle in the middle of the street so you can blockade them? This is unhinged, radical behavior that I think has been popularized via trends on social media and now is being organized and turned into something deadly.
Yeah, the other part about this is now apparently very recently they'd moved to Minneapolis. And apparently the 6-year-old son of Renee Nicole Good, by this her deceased Macklin fellow, was apparently in school. And she thought it would be a good idea with a 6-year-old son in school to spend the day impeding the operations of federal law enforcement.
By the way, the grandfather had to drive from wherever he was. A local newspaper got a hold of him, and the grandfather is driving to Minnesota to retrieve his grandson as of yesterday. So that could tell us something about the relationship dynamic between this grandfather, his grandson, and the stepmother who was there, apparently alleged stepmother, alleged wife that was there on the day of the incident while this happened. And again, I think it speaks to the idea that these people don't understand what they're doing. They don't understand that ICE is just like the FBI. It's a federal law enforcement agency. It's just like the Secret Service. They don't understand that they're playing games with people's lives. You park your vehicle. Imagine you cut off a cop in traffic and then slam on your brakes. And I mean, this is how you get killed. And that is unfortunately what we saw yesterday.
Let's play a clip 10, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, his description of this incident.
I don't know what to tell you, and I don't quite know how to respond to the question other than my primary responsibility as governor is the protection of the people of Minnesota. And you can be assured, whether it's the State Patrol or whether it's the National Guard, their deployment is there to protect Minnesotans from whatever it is. If it's an act of nature, if it's a global pandemic, or in this case, if it is a rogue federal agent.
Okay, stop right there. Tom, rogue federal agent? Is that the responsible language from the governor of Minnesota an hour or so after this incident?
No, in fact, he claimed to have seen a video. I don't know what angle of the video he saw to claim that he said the Trump administration was spreading propaganda. This is a rogue agent. And he said that he could call up the Minnesota National Guard to oppose ICE. I mean, this is something akin to a Civil War scenario. And I don't say that because I think it's cute or because it's funny, but I think that's really what's going on is you have a desperate politician looking at the end of his career, his legacy going down in flames over fraud allegations, and he sees this as the magical get out of jail free card that will make his legacy into that of the Trump resistance fighter and maybe even reignite his presidential ambitions for 2028.
Well, that's his wish and his dream, but it's not happening. In fact, the whole thing has really backfired for him. Tom Pappert, thank you, as always, for your excellent reporting.
Thank you, Michael. Always a pleasure.
Hey, when we come back, a Somali fraud in Columbus, Ohio. Tom Zawistowski will talk with us about that. Back after this.
This is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Salty. We got a wonderful email from one of our customers up east named Joe, and here's what he had to say. I started taking Salty almost out of desperation with little hope because I was resigned to the futility that although I was up to taking 2 statins a day, high cholesterol was something I just had to learn to live with. In fact, when I turned 60, after taking a stress cardio test, my doctor called me on a Saturday, which of course is never a good sign, and told me that I was clogged more than 95% of the people my age. I had an angioplasty and a stent procedure done at that time. Today, my stubborn triglycerides are only 1/3 of what they had been before starting taking Sol-T. My prescription statin dosage has shrunk from 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Sol-T, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
Each of us is born with 30 trillion cells that make us. These cells determine how we feel, perform, sleep, focus, and how long we live. And to live our best life, all we have to do is feed our cells properly. But most supplements don't reach our cells, keeping us from reaching our full potential. Make every cell count with Healthy Cell. Founded with a mission to empower people to take control of their own health at the most fundamental level, the cell. Dr. Vincent Giampapa, world-renowned cell researcher and medical doctor, created supplements that work at the cellular level to support immune health, better sleep, sharper focus, and healthy aging. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of any product. That's healthycell.com, HEALTHYCELL, and use code GODZILLA for 20% off.
How much did you win at Rosie's Gaming Emporium?
Hi, I'm Jerry from Richmond. I won a $23,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
I'm Tammy. I'm from Newport News, and I just won a $5,400 jackpot from Rosie's.
Hi, my name is Kim, and I'm from West Virginia, and I won $99,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
Are you ready? Learn more about Rosie's rewards and jackpots at rosiesgaming.com. Must be 18 or older. Problem gambling? Call 1-888-532-3500.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
There's a number of Democratic members of Congress who are pushing for impeachment, not just going after the president, going after RFK Jr. and others.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
Judge Weinberg.
Listen, it's the most important midterm in our lifetime.
Cats and Cosby, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Frederick Media Network.
This is a big deal.
My fellow Americans, I was this close, very close, to buying from the lumber yards. These are sick people. But I turned my head at the last second, and I saw a big, beautiful ad for D.T. McCall's. These are highly respected people. If I had not turned my head at the last second, I would have been ripped off at some lumber yard for $200 in hidden charges, and D.T. McCall & Sons are never going to do that. They'd never do that to you. These are great people. I've known them for a long time. They have great deals, and I just have to say, nobody knows deals like I do. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned. in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. These are tremendous people. D.T. McCall & Sons. Check out one of their stores today.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are joined on our Zoom Newsmaker line right now by Tom Zalestowski, the head of the We the People Convention in the state of Ohio, longtime Tea Party activist. Tom, a lot of Somali problems in Columbus as well as in Minneapolis.
Yeah, Michael, people don't realize, all the focus really has been on Minneapolis, but Ohio has the second largest Somali population in the country. And we in the Tea Party, we have been screaming about this literally for the entire time we've been in existence. We saw what happened outside of Columbus when just shazam, all of a sudden, like tens of thousands of Somalis showed up and were overwhelming our schools and our hospitals and our social welfare programs. And the Republicans, who were in charge of every office in the state, did nothing. And now Governor DeWine is scrambling, and there looks to be plenty of proof. And I think this is going to explode, not just here in Ohio, but Michael, I think this is a story that's going to happen in many states across the country.
Tom, I was writing about Somali refugees at Breitbart, and I went back and I looked at some of the stories that I've written. I've been writing about the crime problem with Somali refugees in America. At Breitbart, I wrote about it from 2013 to 2020. In fact, there's an article that I just went back and checked out from December of 2016. You remember this story, Abdul Razak Ali Artan, that fella. He came to the United States in 2012. He was a Somali refugee. He was resettled in Columbus, Ohio area by Catholic Charities. And then in December of 2016, he went on a rampage on the campus of Ohio State and shot and actually attacked with a knife 11 people on campus. How about that? With a car and with a knife.
This is the thing. This is not a new story. What's different is we have a new president. What's different is that we have representatives, in that our new government who actually care about American citizens. And Michael, the worst part of this whole thing, I know you'll remember this, is nobody ever asked anyone in Ohio if it's okay to bring these people in. Nobody ever asked, people in Minnesota or in any state in this country, hey, do you want these people? And geez, maybe you could have some input into how we're going to assimilate them and how we're going to help fund this. Michael, there was none of that. It's just, boom, here, have a nice day. Catholic Charities gets what? $90 billion, I think, Catholic Charities got, and Episcopal Charities and Jewish Charities. They were the NGOs who brought 20 million illegal invaders into our country for one reason: to destabilize our nation, to raise housing prices, to lower wages, to stress our social safety net. This is a plan. This is not a bug. It's a feature.
Yeah, and it's interesting because right now there are over 250,000 people, Somalis, in Minneapolis that came over in the refugee resettlement program, some born here but into the Somali community. And Brandon Gill, the congressman from Texas, in the oversight hearings had asked Minnesota state officials very detailed questions about the percentage of Somalis who are on welfare, and it's like 80%. No surprise. Even after 10 years, only half of them speak English. That's the same case in Columbus, Ohio. Columbus, Ohio, Tom, is the second largest Somali community in America, and I think it's now approaching 100,000 in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, and here's the key. People are kind of missing this. I think Maine is a good example. And I would ask people who are watching your show to Google, what's going on with Somalis in Maine, because the guy up there has done a great job of explaining that this isn't just about fraud. This is about stealing elections.
Mm-hmm.
This is about direct coordination between Democrat officials, including the governor of Maine, and these Somali groups who basically get driver's licenses, and then they get to register to vote and no one checks them. And then they ballot harvest to elect people like Tim Walz and the Attorney General of Minnesota. Did you see the story that in Minnesota, you can go to vote, and anyone that's going to vote with you, you can vouch for, Michael. You can vouch for 8 other people and not have their citizenship questioned. Did you see that story in Minnesota?
Yeah, exactly.
My God. I'm going to vouch for, here's my brother, my sister, my family. I'm a citizen, but don't worry, they're citizens too. Let us vote today. That's how Tim Walz won. That's how the governor of Minnesota won. And that's not an opinion. The guy in Maine has the goods. He can prove it.
So here's what the regime media is saying about this. The New York Times. This is an article from yesterday. Here's what the New York Times says. Beyond Minnesota, social media fuels false rumors of fraud among Somalis. The Ohio governor is once again trying to counter misinformation about immigrants more than a year after baseless claims that Haitians in Springfield were eating pets. This is by a fellow by the name of Billy Witz. Unbelievable the way they write these things. Mike DeWine finally had enough. The social media storm of misinformation stirred by a child care fraud scandal in Minnesota that implicated dozens of Somali immigrants was spreading. And now another Somali community in Columbus, the capital of Ohio, is being targeted. So after a statement by his office last week did little to tamp down the false claims, Mr. DeWine, the state's governor, summoned reporters to a news conference this week to scold people who had posted videos fueling speculation of suspicious activity at child care centers in Ohio. That's Mike DeWine just being Mike DeWine, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you hear what Mike DeWine said that, fraud is just the cost of doing business? Yeah, there's going to be fraud. It's just the cost of these programs. Did you hear that quote?
Yeah.
That's why people didn't take him seriously. And so we've got real problems here. And Michael, I'm going to predict to your audience that you're going to see this story in Ohio explode in the next 10 days or so.
Yeah.
Because the evidence that's building is serious as a heart attack. And remember, the story in Minnesota has shifted dramatically in an important way. Now we're talking about government employees under Walz backdating audits and falsifying documents. And we are seeing here in Ohio that they claim they did 10,000 audits in Ohio of these groups. Yeah, we're going to see that they really did those.
Hold it. You're telling me that Ohio state officials are claiming they've done 10,000 audits of Somali daycares? Is that right?
Yes, and we're gonna want to see those audits, Michael. Okay,
the
cover up begins.
Hold it. There are 10,000 Somali daycares in Ohio.
I don't know what the real number is, but I know that that they've done. They say they've done these audits. And remember, everybody else got to remember. So first, it's daycare center fraud. Then it was adult care center fraud. But now it's going into SNAP and Medicare and all that. And Gavin Newsom, yeah, he's going to find out that flapping his gums about saying, oh, come to California, you'll see we have no fraud. Oh, boy, wait do you see what we find in California, folks. That's the fraud capital of the universe.
Yeah, here's another one. This is from WOSU Public Media. Somali daycare in Columbus speaks out on harassment from conservative influencers. Somali American daycare centers in Columbus are dealing with the fallout from being targeted by conservative social media influencers. At least 2 of these daycare centers in Columbus were the subject of viral videos on X and YouTube in the week between Christmas and New Year's. People approached the centers with their phone cameras recording, trying to gain entry and question the owners. Boy, that is harassment, wouldn't you say?
Well, Michael, we got to stop that. And you should be outraged. Your viewers and listeners should be outraged, right? They do not understand. What's so wonderful is that your show and the effort we've made over the last 16 years to destroy the lying, gaslighting of the legacy media and create this new ecosystem of independent journalism, that's what's winning the day. The young man in Minnesota who did the viral video that went, 110 million views? Compare that to ABC, CBS, WOSU radio. You're not winning. The American people are seeing this. And I think there was just a Rasmussen poll that came out this morning that says 53% of Americans think it's way worse than the reporting that this fraud is in every government program.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
And it in blue states primarily, but it looks like there's a lot of evidence that it's also in a red state like Ohio, where the governor is a little weak on auditing all this information.
Well, Michael, here's what our people need to understand. The problem we have is that the people who work in government, not just elected officials, and I'm not talking about, in the federal government, I'm talking about in your township, in your county, in your state government, the kids that you grew up with in high school and stuff, who maybe didn't go to college or went to college and got indoctrinated, never worked in a business in their life. They go into government and they don't know that their job is to protect our money. They're told your job is to take this money that magically appears every year and just shovel it out the door as fast as you can to everyone you can and anyone who asks, because that's what being a good person is. And congratulations on that. But boy, if you ask a question like, this person doesn't seem to qualify, or, geez, they didn't give us the right information about their corporation, maybe they shouldn't get it. They get scolded, and as we saw in Minneapolis with Walz and their government, they were targeted and punished. This is standard operating procedure.
When we come back,
quote,
Tom,
our government.
Some politics. Turns out Mike DeWine just endorsed somebody for governor. It's a bit of a surprise. There's twists and turns, and we'll have that with Tom Zalostowski when we get back.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are a $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
Get in. We're stealing homes. We're not like those other home criminals that steal your stuff. We steal your hard-earned home equity. We find your property online from the public record. Got it. Create a deed transfer that makes us the homeowners. Got it. And borrow tons of cash against your equity, and you won't know till the foreclosure notice hits months later.
Just go to HometitleLock.com/Godzilla. Protect yourself.
What if you had a plan to build income outside your job?
At Lifestyles Unlimited, you'll learn how people are investing in real estate to grow their income and make smarter financial choices one property at a time. Right now, join us for just $297. That's a savings of $443 off our real estate education program. Text RADIO to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
These illegal skill games that keep popping up, fights break out, they're illegal. We got drugs, we got gangs, they're all over the place. How do you get illegal slot machines in convenience stores when Governor Youngkin, you vetoed it and no referendum, nobody passed it? How are they still here?
At the end of the day, it is local Commonwealth's attorneys that have to bring the cases against the establishments and to get them out. And so, yes, I vetoed bills. The high court has said that they can't be there. And on top of that, our attorney general has done a full investigation. And we go back to our Commonwealth's attorneys in so many jurisdictions refuse to enforce the law. That's the bottom line. They protect the criminals at the expense of the victims. And that's why, again, elections matter. We have got to elect prosecutors who will put people in jail.
This ad paid for by Churchill Downs.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Our guest is Tom Zalestowski, the head of the We the People Convention in Ohio. Okay, this one surprised me. Earlier this week, the incumbent Rhino governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine, endorsed our friend Vivek Ramaswamy for governor. That one took me by surprise. What's going on there?
Well, timing is everything, right, Michael? Okay. So what's going on there is the Somali investigation in Ohio. And Mike DeWine was under pressure because he had been holding out endorsing Vivek because the Democrat nominee is his former health advisor, Amy Acton, okay?
Yeah.
And so DeWine has been kind of trying to, slow roll any endorsement of Vivek to give her a chance. And so I honestly think that endorsement is a direct result of the investigations that people are calling for because DeWine wants the heat off. And unfortunately, it's not going to work. But I think Vivek did a good job as far as picking McCauley, the Senate president, to be his lieutenant governor, because Vivek has no experience in state government, and it would make sense for him to have someone as lieutenant governor who has a lot of experience.
So let's talk about that.
McCauley, but I thought it was a good choice.
So let's talk about that for a moment. Every state has a sort of different way that they select a governor and lieutenant governor. Here in Tennessee, the governor is elected separately, and we're the only state that does this. The president of the state senate becomes the lieutenant governor. In the in the state of Virginia, the governor announces a ticket, but the lieutenant governor is elected separately. I think in Ohio, you have a ticket, but the ticket is you're voting for both candidates. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that you do it separately. In Ohio, it's like president and vice president. It's the same thing. And And so, one of the dangers, again, you and I know this because of the years we spent together in the Tea Party learning all this stuff. But for your listeners, little things mean a lot. So the one thing that was not good about Vivek's choice was the timing, because what we in the grassroots we believe that Vivek is a change agent. He's going to crush the Columbus cartel. He's like Donald Trump to us. He's self-funding. He can do what he wants, and he's not controlled by the Columbus people. But he picks McCauley, who we don't know. This guy's like invisible. I mean, he's a Senate president. Nobody's ever heard of him. Okay,
what's his name again?
McCauley, Rob McCauley.
McCauley.
From the northwest part of the state. So he picks him, which is okay, but then DeWine endorses, and it almost looks like Columbus cartel capture of Vivek. And that's not true, but it looks that way because to the average citizen, you're like, well, he picked, an established guy that's the Senate president, and now Rhino DeWine endorses. My God, the next thing, Kasich will be endorsing him, right? So, we're a little concerned about that, but I've talked to Vivek, and I can assure people that that is not the case. No one's going to capture Vivek Ramaswamy. He has got a mission to reform Ohio and make Ohio a great state like it used to be, to compete with Florida and Texas. And I think he can do it. And part of the reason he can do it is he's going to have the legislature get on board with his reform agenda.
So it sounds like you've got a pretty open line of communication with Vivek. How often do you talk to him, and what sort of things you talk about?
Well, Michael, I want to tell you, because you and I have been friends for a long time, and we've been in the struggle for a long time. And as you know, we've mostly, as the grassroots, been on the outside looking in. Our relationship with the Republican, Ohio's a red state because we made it a red state, but our government isn't red, it's purple. And it's been a love-hate relationship. I have to tell you that my relationship with Vivek is probably the best that it's been with anybody in Ohio state government in the 16 years I've been around. And I will tell you that I may have some big news for you in the next week to 2 weeks about a way that we're going to work with Vivek going forward in a very big way, with the grassroots joining with Vivek. And I hope that comes to fruition. I believe it will. But we have a very good relationship, and I'm really happy to report
Tom, that's what we call in the broadcast business a tease. But but usually a tease sets up the next segment of the program. Now you're going to make us wait 2 weeks.
Well, Michael, that's why you stay tuned. If you want to know what's going on, folks, watch this podcast and this radio show, listen to the show, because he does know what's going on. Michael, you do a great job, and we appreciate it so much, because never has it been more important for people to have a source that they can trust, because we're living in a sea of lies and propaganda.
Yeah, we are.
And we need to find the truth. And this is where the truth lives, people. So, keep watching. Stay tuned. There's more to come.
Well, that's terrific. And it's going to be a long tease. I'm sorry. But, as soon as you have it, as soon as you can deliver,
I'll let you know.
Let me know.
You'll be the first to know.
Tom Zalestowski, our good friend with the We the People Convention. Tom, thanks. And great news about that upcoming tease of some sort of something going on with Vivek Ramaswamy. Thanks, Tom.
Have a great week.
All
Happy
right.
250th anniversary, folks. Celebrate.
When we get back, if all goes well, Aaron Gulbinson with the Tennessee Conservative Coalition will join us.
Wendy Bell.
In the state of Minnesota, it is the most vile, fraudulent nightmare by Democrats. Democrats compensated, and the cycle continues around and around. President Trump, if we don't see people in handcuffs, it means spinning your wheels. And everybody's going to know that MAGA was bullcrap.
Wendy Bell is America's anchor mom. Weeknights at 6 on the John Fredericks Media Network.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m.
Get your truth by the truckload from America's Godzilla of Truth, The John Fredericks Show, weekdays 5 to 9 a.m. on WENO Nashville, KQPN West Memphis.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. At a vigil in Minneapolis last night,
We should be the ones in jail, us!
activists expressing their anger over the ICE shooting of a demonstrator. Meanwhile, in an evening press conference, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said the woman who was shot was harassing federal officers trying to carry out their duties.
ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands.
Meanwhile, police say a shooting outside a church building in Salt Lake City yesterday killed 2 people and injured 6 others. Here's correspondent Marcela Sanchez.
Dozens were inside attending a funeral. A relative of the victims, Mac Oliveira Mombao, witnessed the shooting.
4 of my other cousins got shot.
Officials do not believe it was a targeted attack against a religion. Salt Lake City Police Chief spokesman Glenn Mills.
I can't give too much information on the suspects at this time.
Audio courtesy KTVX. I'm Marcela Sanchez.
It's a mixed bag at this hour on Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up close to 300 points. The high-tech NASDAQ struggling. It's down 116. The House has voted to move forward on a health care bill over the objections of Republican leadership.
9 GOP lawmakers joined Democrats to win a test vote on a bill that would extend health insurance subsidies that expired last month. The tally of 221 to 205 means that the House will formally vote on a 3-year extension. All of this came about because enough Republicans joined with Democrats in signing a so-called discharge petition to force the vote, overpowering House Speaker Mike Johnson. Greg Clugston, Washington.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
It's Mike Gallagher wishing you a happy new year. If you're like most people, this is the week you look at your budget and think, all right, time to get things under control. Here's one of the smartest ways to start 2026. Call my friends at Fellowship Home Loans. They can help lower your monthly mortgage payment. And yes, you can still skip your next 2 payments. Imagine not making a mortgage payment in January or February. That's how you create real financial breathing room. If you need some cash to pay off high-interest credit cards from the holidays, a cash-out refinance might just be perfect for you. And if you prefer a line of credit, Fellowship's new fixed-rate HELOC gives you funds fast with a rate that never changes. Start the year on solid footing. I've used Fellowship personally. I trust these guys. Before the January bills hit, go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/MikeG, fellowshiphomeloans.com/MikeG, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453, fellowshiphomeloans.com/MikeG. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
Here's Rich Thomason now with the midday Wall Street Business Report.
A lower open for Wall Street, although defense-related shares are doing well after President Trump proposed a massive military spending increase. Shares of RTX rose 4.8% in off-hours trading. Northrop Grumman jumped 8.5%. General Dynamics climbed 6.2%. The number of Americans filing for unemployment rose by 8,000 last week to 208,000. Up from 200,000 the week before. The Steel City is losing a newspaper. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is shutting down in May. Its owners cite financial losses. Block Communications made the announcement yesterday. A couple dozen union members just recently returned to work after a 3-year strike. The Post-Gazette has deep roots in Pittsburgh, going back to 1786. I'm Rich Thomason.
Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. California will lose $160 million in federal transportation funds. That's for delaying the revocations of about 17,000 commercial driver's licenses for immigrants who've overstayed their visas.
The state notified those drivers in the fall that they would lose their licenses after a federal audit found problems, including licenses for truckers and bus drivers that remained valid long after an immigrant's visa expired. But then last week, California said it would delay those revocations until March after immigrant groups sued the state. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said the state was supposed to revoke those licenses by Monday. Keith Peters, Washington.
More artificial intelligence being implanted into Gmail as Google tries to turn the world's most used email service into a personal assistant that can improve writing, summarize information buried in inboxes, and deliver daily to-do lists, among other things. You'll find more of these stories at
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, all-star panelist, official guest host of the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, the executive director of the Tennessee Conservative Coalition, the one, the only, Aaron Gulbinson. Good morning, Aaron.
How are you today?
Well, it's been 2 weeks since you've been here. Has anything happened in the past 2 weeks? Oh, I don't know. like we captured the dictator, the narco-terrorist in Venezuela, and now he's sitting in a jail cell next to P. Diddy in Brooklyn.
Yes, and I'm sure you've seen the memes, and Elon Musk is sharing the memes. I'm sure if I look back, I'm sure there's a White House account that has shared the memes, and it's actually absolutely beautiful. And of course, the Democrats are taking, shocker, the side of a brutal dictator, and then you see your right so-called right-wing grifters taking the same side too. So it's always amusing to me.
So let's talk about the right-wing grifters.
Yeah,
because that's been look. There are people that are just looking for more traffic and clicks and money.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what they do. So, all right. I think this audience, or at least I'd like to think it is, but I do believe that this particular audience is more educated than most. I think that the readers of the Tennessee Star, because of the good work that's been done by the Tennessee Star for so long, are more educated than most.
Can I just take a pause here for a moment? Next month, it'll be 9 years.
Jeez,
9 years. That's a bit of time, isn't it?
That's a fair amount of time, and then the year after that's a decade. But so, and all that to say, when you pay attention to the history of certain people, and I'll use one as an example that's pretty easy. The fact that Megyn Kelly is a so-called right-wing grifter is not only true at the moment, but it's it's not surprising at all. This is the same woman who had a multi-million-dollar deal with NBC it was NBC, right?
Yeah.
That fell apart because, crappy ratings, right? But she, when she was being paid by NBC, she was advocating for child mutilation and trans kids and all that other stuff. And by the way, there's no such thing as a trans kid. But, and now in order to get in with a certain audience, she's going the other way, which she's attacking Israel. She recently attacked the president. If you remember, she came to so-called conservative fame at Fox News when she got into a fight with the president.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All that to say is Megyn Kelly's a very good example of this grifter sphere. She has zero principles whatsoever. Zero principles. And, there are people now that are referring to her as Grandma Groiper at the moment.
Grandma Groiper. Now that's something.
Which I think I've seen that on Sean Farash's X account. But it drives me crazy. You know, Limbaugh used to like to say this every now and then, and he didn't use it willy-nilly. But Rush had been the leader of the conservative media movement for a very, very long time. And whenever somebody became a large enough problem, Rush would say something along the lines of, where were you
when I was?
You know, and you're acting like you're this big authority. So I go back to my central premise, which is, unfortunately, in the wake of the death of Rush Limbaugh, that there isn't a singular voice out there that can call these people out. So it's incumbent to do so. But yeah, I mean, you know, Megyn Kelly's out there doing whatever she thinks makes her money. That's the thing. I mean, I should learn better from this because, you know, I mean, I do things that cost me money. But you know, you got Megyn Kelly, you got the Hodge twins out there. The Hodge twins are actually the greatest example of this period, because they literally say one thing on Facebook on one topic, and then they say the exact opposite on Twitter on that topic, because Twitter or X and Facebook are actually two different audiences. But all this to say, the audience needs to go and read for themselves, and that's what they always need to do. And then, of course, you know, there's always different levels of this, but you know, you talk about bigger names like Megyn Kelly, and then, you know, people at the local level, they do the same thing and they grift that way. But
well, yeah, the other thing to look at is perhaps the worst example of this is Candace Owens.
Yes,
and she's going to be in big trouble now, because you saw the French jury basically found against all of the, I don't know, like a dozen individuals who claimed that Macron's wife was actually a male, and they lost. Well, I think it's bizarre that Candace Owens, who had a big platform,
you know, you're in massive trouble when your conspiracy theories are being publicly mocked by Alex Jones.
Boom. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, you know, it's really too bad, because, you know, Candace, she kind of burst on the scene with Turning Point USA way back when.
Yeah, I mean, Candace
with Charlie. That Turning Point gave her the platform.
Listen, Candace has used every platform she's ever had to advance herself, and the unfortunate thing is that's what she's done. But if you go back to, you know, past is generally prologue here with these people, and you know, she started off as a liberal Democrat. She sued a group of people to, you know, basically used race baiting, and then she established a couple platforms against race baiting. But at the end of the day, that's what she was doing in a different way the entire time. I mean, the scariest thing is, though, if you look at her X account, she's got 7.5 million followers on there.
Well, see, that's the point, isn't it? That's a lot of followers.
Yeah.
And why are they following her? Well, because she communicates in a certain way, and you know, she's got the shtick down, if you will. But what she says is complete lunacy.
Well, there's two things that go on here. A, enough crazy things have happened in the world that, you know, you can't discount every conspiracy theory, right? I mean, you look at COVID, you look at the Fauci stuff, you look at, you know, that's just a giant example of conspiracy theories at least having a ton of truth to them, right? And then you look at the improprieties with the 2020 election. You know, a lot of times people jump the shark with that because, you know, there was no, you know, 40,000 ballots on an Air Force base in France, but there were problems with the 2020 election. So you have enough of that it kind of feeds the beast, shall we say, when somebody comes up with something wild, because in certain cases the truth has been wilder than fiction. Secondly, and this is a human nature problem, and I think a lot of those 7.5 million people that follow her, They hate follow her because, what's better than watching someone else's idle online gossip? But B, this is a very human issue.
Yeah.
The people like to feel special, and in this day of ADHD, a way of feeling special is listening or watching somebody that tells you something that makes you feel like you're in the know of a secret.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if it's being said publicly, it's not really a secret. It's either completely made up, or it's
you're quite right.
So, and that's the human
7 million
problem.
followers. She'd make a lot of money off of that, obviously, but she's going to need a lot of money.
As an aside, I've met her several times, and she was never a nice person. She has a character she plays for when the cameras are on, and she just she's not a social person.
And you see that often with certain media types. Hey, when we come back, let's talk about the reaction to the shooting of the woman who was impeding an ICE operation yesterday, the proper shooting, and the reaction of Tennessee Democrats to that. Back after this.
Hi, folks. John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
If you're like me, most moms find it difficult to prioritize self-care. Hi, it's Colleen, Program Director at the John Fredericks Media Network. With the demands of programming 13 radio stations, it's easy to forget about the things I should do for myself daily. And that's why I started with our company's Women's Challenge with Native Path Collagen Peptides. It's affordable and convenient care in just 1 scoop a day. There are so many incredible health benefits like bone and joint support, metabolism booster, and hair, skin, and nail improvement. I like to take a moment each day to prioritize myself and indulge in the health-boosting benefits of Native Path Collagen Peptides. I love mixing it up with all the different smoothie recipes, too. Learn more about Native Path Collagen Peptides and read 7 important reasons why you should be taking collagen peptides at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Prioritize your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right, and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, Tireget.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service. Great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. Aaron Gulbinson, the executive director of the Tennessee Conservative Coalition, is with us. So the big news, of course, yesterday was the shooting of the 37-year-old woman who was impeding ICE operations and who rammed her SUV into an ICE officer after another ICE officer had told her, yeah, get out of the car, and she refused to do that. Well, did you see the video? By the way?
Yeah.
Okay. So you could clearly see the ICE officer was hit by the vehicle.
Right.
The Washington Post says video shows he was not in the path of the vehicle. That's what the Washington Post said.
Well, I mean, the Washington Post is one of those outlets where if they say the sky is blue, I'm going to have to go outside and look it up and,
Yeah. Well, here's the thing also. Now, the reaction of the governor of Minnesota and the mayor of Minneapolis was just beneath contempt. And, of course, famously, Jacob Fry, the mayor of Minneapolis, told ICE to get the F out of Minneapolis. Now, this is a mayor of a state telling federal law enforcement to leave his city when they're enforcing federal law.
The Democrat Party has been has been anti-law enforcement for a very long time, and of course, with all of their issues going on with the Somali fraud, this is also the same state that staged a there was a GoFundMe type fundraising thing for anybody who was jailed during riots, and the Democrat, including Kamala Harris, the Democrat leadership in Minnesota and beyond supported that effort to free criminals. So it's the sad thing is none of this is ever surprising, and this is par for the course. But unfortunately, with what we discuss when I'm here a weekly basis, but in general in society on a daily basis, almost on a minute by minute basis, the Democrat Party should get 10% of the vote everywhere they go. It is
max.
It is the anti-America party. It's the anti-law enforcement party. It is the pro-criminal party. Nobody should be. Listen, and the other thing is if you use your car or anything as a weapon against any kind of law enforcement, you are going to get shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, before we get to the Tennessee Democrat Party reaction to these events yesterday, I want to play this. Here's Jimmy Kimmel. And by the way, who's anti-American these days? Yeah, basically regime media, all the late-night talk show hosts on ABC, CBS, NBC are anti-American. Blue state governors and blue city mayors are anti-American. Let's play this clip of Jimmy Kimmel talking about the events of yesterday.
You know what? Maybe they're trying. I know what they're doing. They're trying out a new slogan. Donald J. Trump is going to kill you. Pretty good, right? This maniac, he isn't just killing people overseas. An ICE agent today shot and killed an unarmed 37-year-old woman during an ICE operation in Minneapolis. They're there under the guise of protecting us. And, of course, our president weighed in with compassion. He wrote, "I've just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis. It is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car, this is the woman who was killed, was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer who seems to have shot her in self-defense." Now, I saw this video. It didn't look like anybody got run over to me. It looked to me like a woman got scared.
Okay, we got to pause for a moment. Now, I saw this video.
Yeah.
You saw the video.
Yeah.
It's very clear that the agent who shot this woman was hit by the SUV. You can see it.
Jimmy Kimmel needs to go back to wearing blackface and watching girls on trampolines on the Man Show. I mean, It's just he's in nothing that comes out of his mouth is remote, but is remotely credible. He's not funny anymore.
He's
lost his
hack.
Sense of humor.
Yeah.
It's just a political hack. And, he's looking for his tiny little audience, and he plays to his tiny little audience.
Well, we'll get to that in a bit. Here's the rest of that clip from Jimmy Kimmel.
And they shot her. That'll be for the court to decide. Well, the mayor of Minneapolis, though, had this to say.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bull. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying, getting killed.
Okay, I just got to stop before we're going to go for more, but there's more that I want to play on that, but we'll come back to that. But this was not an agent recklessly using power. He was being hit by an SUV.
The car was being used. The SUV was being used as a weapon. I mean, it's just it.
And he says this like an hour after the event. He's clearly trying to incite a demonstration and riots. Let's continue.
Getting killed, and I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis.
That was the shirt I want to see. To ICE. Get the out of Minneapolis.
That was Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, so
you notice how that. By the way, I have an observation, mate. You notice how the Democrat politicians. Okay, so President Trump grew up, New York City and Queens, and he drops in the occasional, F-bomb and some other. It's not performative.
Yeah.
Democrat, I mean, that mayor there, and every time it comes up, it's performative.
It's clearly performative, yeah.
It's,
they think it's emphasizing the point, but it's not. It's making him look silly. Now, here's the other part about this. So the Democrat Party of Tennessee, I'm kind of going somewhere with this. There are a bunch of lunatic leftists in every state. In Minnesota, they have control. Primarily because of election fraud.
Yeah.
But in Tennessee, they don't have control. But the red states are still run by sane, common sense people. But here, I'm going to play this clip for you. Look at the video right now. If you take a look at it, this was their official position. Let's get that up there right now. Yeah, their official position was F ICE. This was the Tennessee Democrat Party. Now, I would like to actually, and I suppose Afton Bain, who is a state representative, would probably, probably all in with that. Every Democrat, is every Democrat
I'm sure
in the state
Afton Bain would be all in with that. Go on.
Is there any Democrat, elected Democrat in the state who disagree with it? How about that? How about Fidel Freddy? The mayor of
No, they've
Nashville.
all listen. Anybody who would have been common sense has already left the Democrat Party. I mean, the last prominent Democrat that had any common sense works for Bill Lee and is not a Democrat anymore. I mean, it's just they have no common sense. All they do is they play for their lowest common denominator. Listen, the Democrat politicians are and their quote unquote leadership. They are grifters in the same manner of a Megyn Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
They have no principles. They'll say things. It's kabuki theater. That's all this is. They don't care. They don't. All they care about is destroying America and holding on to power and keeping their audience.
So, at a national level, John Fetterman does not agree with the F ICE mantra. But is there any elected Democrat in the state of Tennessee who would reject that approach to this issue?
Not that I see.
No,
I mean, there's
none,
and they wouldn't be. And if there is one, they wouldn't be a Democrat very, very long. So anymore.
So why would anybody in the state of Tennessee take any Democrat seriously?
They shouldn't, and if they do, it's because either A, they hold the same exact terrible values, or B, they have a mental illness, or C, they're just not paying attention.
Yeah. The other thing, too, though, if you look at the media here in Tennessee, the local television stations, they're kind of promoting that approach.
Oh, listen, again, you're talking about ratings here, right? So the one thing that drives me crazy, especially when you're looking at the local news media, but they for the amount of actual influence over what happens in the state and in society, the Democrat Party has almost none in the state of Tennessee, and they get an outsized media coverage
right
over it, unfortunately.
Exactly. Yeah, because they're gonna interview off because they want to. It's the both sidism thing.
Yeah.
The Democrats in the state of Tennessee are absolute lunatics.
Yeah,
every single one of
If
them.
you wanted to do both sidism, you'd interview 8 Republicans and 2 Democrats. I mean, that's what you. That's what you know. That would be fair representation.
Yeah, exactly.
For our state, anyway.
By the way, just as an aside, did you see this? Talk about the lame regime local TV media here. So Bree Smith, who'd been a meteorologist at News Channel 5 for 9 years, is suing them for sexual harassment. Guess who's not said a word about that? Phil Williams.
I'm sure.
His colleague claiming sexual harassment, he's not saying anything about it. So, crazy. Hey, when we come back, let's get a preview of where we are with the Tennessee General Assembly. It's January. They're going to be back real soon. Back after this with Aaron Gulbinson.
EJ Haast here, founder of the Digital Footprint Management Agency and frequent guest on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, here to tell you about GetFoundEverywhere.com. Customers are searching for your business everywhere: Google, Apple Maps, TikTok, and new AI platforms like ChatGPT and Gemini, which is a total disruptor. Traditional search engine optimization isn't dead, but it is on life support. Old tactics don't work anymore. So how can you make your business stand out? GetFoundEverywhere.com makes your business pop on over 50 search, map, review, and AI-driven platforms. With one easy dashboard, manage business profiles, social media accounts, direct messages, even texts and reviews. GetFoundEverywhere.com is affordable, boosts your visibility, and gets your business more customers. It's time to step up your game the easy way. Save time, save money, and get more customers with GetFoundEverywhere.com.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at GlockStore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at GlockStore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
My fellow Americans, my good friends, I've known them for a long time, at D.T. McCall & Sons have the deal of a lifetime for you, and nobody knows deals like I do. That much I can tell you. Nobody knows deals like I do. The lumber yards, they can hit you with hidden charges for up to $200 extra. They'll charge you for cords and hoses and haul-offs. Your money goes all over the place and out of the state, and most importantly, out of your pockets. How do they get away with that? I don't know how they do that, but on day one, if you buy from McCall's, we are going to stop the hidden charges as soon as you buy it. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. Head to one of their stores today or check them out at dtmccalls.com. You're going to love it, believe me.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Well, they're back, sort of. The Tennessee General Assembly coming into a session this
Tuesday.
month. Yeah. What do we have to look forward to on this? Aaron Gulbinson, Executive Director of the Tennessee Conservative Coalition.
Well, you're going to have your usual performative legislation by the Democrats, your usual performative legislation by certain members of the General Assembly that don't get passed. Your substantive preview at the moment. Listen, the actual number one thing to remember this year is the vast majority of them, half the Senate and all of the State House, are going into re-election. And so they are going to try to, and their primaries are in August, they're going to try to get in and get out as quick as they possibly can. And I don't really have a problem with that as a conservative, because I think most conservatives would agree that the idea of less legislation is not a bad thing. But your two big battles here are going to be, is going to be the expansion of school choice in Tennessee, and it's going to be what winds up in the final version of the budget.
School choice and budget are the two big issues here.
Yep.
And the school choice program, what education scholarship accounts, 20,000 of them last year, or this current academic year. And they want to expand it, I guess, to 40,000 this year. Is what the Republicans want to do?
The speaker said 50.
50,
it just depends. I mean,
he said 50. That's good.
A lot of it's going to depend on, the budget and that are going to work together, right? So we'll see.
Who's going to post this?
Oh, the same people who voted against, the same loud mouths who voted against it last time. So you're going to have the Democrats unanimously against it, and then you're going to have your Jody Barretts of the world.
Will there be a single Democrat who votes in favor of increasing the number of education scholarship accounts, which is like $7,300 a year, something like that, to parents to go to the private schools that they select that are accredited and approved by the state? 1 million, by the way. There's 1 million K-12 public school students right now in the state of Tennessee, so that's a very tiny, tiny, tiny percentage.
Yeah, you could see one, maybe, but probably not. Most likely not. I mean, listen. At the end of the day, the Democrat Party and smart Republicans know that school choice reduces the power of the Democrat Party and the leftist teachers unions. Right. So the Democrats vote in their own interest, not the interest of their constituents. And, you have stupid Republicans that vote against it.
Are they stupid, or are they just ideologically opposed to improving education results?
I think, listen, I think that there's a syndrome that happens where people go, ooh, so-and-so is for it, so I'm going to be against it. So, and then people playing to a constituency that isn't the voters in their district.
So you mentioned Jody Barrett, a state representative, who ran for the congressional district, the 7th congressional district, got stomped by Congressman Matt Van Epps.
You shouldn't call the president names.
But he's been an outspoken opponent to the school choice program. His argument is, let's not have the government get involved. What's his argument again? It doesn't make any sense.
Common sense bad, Donald Trump policy bad. I don't know. I mean, that's exactly. Listen, at the end of the day, you've got a group of. I mean, they're in their own special grifter class, but you got a group of people that are trying to seem special, and they're anti-Republican in their ideology. They're anti-conservative. The irony is that they then call themselves hyper-conservative when they're not. At best, they're populists, and populism and conservatism are two different things, to be clear. So if you want to be honest about it, call yourself a populist and you're trying to go with the flow. But there's no real ideological opposition to school choice. It is school choice is as Republican as being anti-taxed and being pro-life. If you are not for school choice, you're a rhino. I don't care. I don't care who you are, whether you're Jody Barrett or somebody else.
Are there other? I think Monty Fritz now is running for governor. I think he's going to post this as well, right?
Yeah, with his very well produced Watchman on the wall little tweets. Little unsolicited tip there, Monty. You should probably just call it Monty Fritz for governor updates. But with his bizarre performative, everything, it's just another.
There are within rural areas there is an argument that the teachers unions and the school administrators make, which is, oh, we don't have any alternative schools in our rural areas. Well, there is an alternative. It's called a micro school.
Listen, I want to be very clear here. The superintendents and your teachers unions are leftists. I don't care if they're saying it in rural areas. I don't care if they're saying it in urban areas. I don't care if they're saying it in suburban areas. I mean, I think they have too much power when it comes to the Williamson County School Board, if you want to know.
Sure.
I mean, Emily Orbison should have been fired. And I don't see the leadership of the school board in Williamson County blasting that or doing anything about that. And that was the one who badmouthed Charlie Kirk after his death.
Yeah, and I think she's the granddaughter of the great singer Roy Orbison.
Yeah,
I think.
But you know,
but she was fired for an anti-Charlie Kirk social media posting. Then they rehired her, and then she quit.
And as an aside, I mean, I think anybody who thinks that Jason Golden, the superintendent of schools in Williamson County, that sits on the school board, that thinks he should keep his job, they should be voted out of office because Jason Golden should be fired. But you know, and that's just one county. No, you want to know about a problem that exists, and this is the ultimate thing, and it's tied in with school. It is tied in with school choice. The point is, it is the parents that have the ultimate say in their kids' education. It should never be unelected bureaucrats. School board members, state representatives, county commissioners, state senators, our governor, they represent the constituent, the parents, the voters. These unelected bureaucrats who are leftists, that's where they come from. They want to exert their own power, and people need to stand up for them and stand up against them. And school choice is the ultimate fight against that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're fighting school choice, then just go erase the R from your name and put a D next to it.
You know, what's interesting about this, reading, writing, and arithmetic, those skill levels, the actual performance has continued to decline in the state of Tennessee. It's not good. It's very bad. And as a result, kids can't read, they can't write, they can't do math, they cannot think. And teachers seem to care, the teachers' organizations, the unions, seem to care not one whit about changing that.
You know what unions ultimately do when they're in the non-political side of unions. This is how I feel about unions. My father was in a union in New York, unfortunately forced. He was third-generation elevator constructor, and unions are public sector unions are designed to give to get the most money out of the taxpayer for their union members to do the least amount of constructive work. That's exactly what they do.
Well,
and that's
true.
the non-political side.
Yeah. So let's talk about the possible objections that might have any merit, which would be the budget issue. So this, if you look at the cost of it, $20,000, $7,300, what's that, $140 million a year, roughly?
Yeah, I mean,
So if you increase that by 2.5 times, you're looking at basically 280 plus. You know, you're looking at $350 million a year, something like that.
Yeah, and you're going to have to go see what you're going to go cut for the budget to accommodate that. I mean, that makes perfect sense. I mean, you're not going to increase debt or anything to do that. But at the end of the, and there'll be, I mean, I could see, there are groups that get grants from the state. I could see that being
going
reduced.
Down.
Fortunately, our state is a very fiscally conservative state. It's the best managed state in the country. So I think that the ultimate result is going to be very responsible and advance the ball down the field. And I think that this is an issue that's going to come up every single year. It's one of those issues. If there's one kid in the entire state getting an inferior education, you keep working on it. And you keep working on it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. So, other than those two things, the budget, any other issues on the budget that are going to come up?
I mean, it's those are the two major things. I hate to enlighten the audience on this fact, but this is the last year of the sitting governor. It's not going to be as exciting as other years. There may be something that occurs in the world that's beyond everybody's control, but the unvarnished, unemotional answer is this session the media is going to try to gin up some stuff, and there'll be some performative legislation and performatively named legislation that people file, and there'll be the Democrats are always going to file legislation to ban guns, and it's always going to get batted down, and then there's going to be the gun protesters that show up and go, how dare you, blah 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 blah. But they're going to try to get out of session by April 15th.
And there's another reason why they want to get out of session as soon as possible, because under Tennessee statutes, if you're a member of the state legislature, you cannot raise funds for your election campaign while the legislature is in session.
Right. So, they want to get out.
Yeah, because they're up for re-election right now.
Anytime you place restrictions on that, you're going to...
Do you see, when you talk about elections here in the General Assembly, primaries, Republican, Democrat, do you see anything going on in the Republican or Democrat side that's worthy? Or I don't see a lot of changes.
Caleb, if you look at a potential Republican pickup, Caleb Hemmer has announced that he's not running for re-election.
And he's based where?
He's in Nashville.
You think that could be a potential
that
Republican
is a
pickup?
Seat that is closer in numbers.
How much closer? Because Nashville's like 65-35.
Well, we actually, and Hemmer, when he was running in his previous election, faced an awful nominee. That could be one.
Now, what part of Nashville is that?
It's like the Bellevue, Belmead area.
Okay,
so
some promise there.
It's your typical. The Democrats are going to go on offense.
Do we have a candidate on the Republican side?
I haven't paid that close attention. You've got a lot. Our good friend, State Senator Adam Lowe, is two primary opponents, but he's going to beat them like a drum. Honestly, at the end of the day, I think this is going to be. There's going to be things worth talking about, but it's going to be as drama free the drama is really going to be at the federal level nationwide.
Yeah,
I think
you're right.
We're a very stable state, and everything else is a lot of kabuki theater. So
when we come back, guess what, Aaron? It'll be
News
time
Potpourri.
for News Potpourri. He's Aaron Gulbinson. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
This is Tom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea, a supplement to help you have a healthier heart and stronger cardiovascular system. At Soul Tea, we regularly get emails from our customers telling us how Soul Tea has helped them. Like this one from Kelly. Hello, I'm 58 years old and have had high cholesterol for years. I wanted to stay away from prescription drugs. My husband and I have been using Soul Tea for about 13 months. My results have been amazing. My cholesterol levels went from 291 to 129. I am so impressed with Soul Tea and want to thank you. Now, in my own case, my bad cholesterol dropped from 130 to 89, and that was 20 years ago. I'm 75 years old and I take 0 prescription drugs. To get a great deal on Soul Tea, please go to GodzillaHeart.com, and when you check out, use the code Godzilla to get our best deal, which is 50% off your first shipment and then 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. You don't have to live with a broken heart.
Do you suffer from
Try
declining
Soul Tea
bone and
today.
joint health? Hi, it's Tina with the John Fredericks Media Network. And when I heard about our company's Women's Challenge, I jumped on the opportunity to test this amazing supplement that's already restoring my bone density, soothing my joint pain, and helping me regain lost mobility. I've experienced so many benefits in such a short time with Native Path Collagen Peptides because they support my bones and joints, boost my metabolism, and unleash the most radiant skin and hair since my 20s. In just 2 weeks, my knee stiffness is gone, and I'm already hitting the gym more aggressively. And I get so many compliments on my glowy skin and shiny hair. Native Path Collagen Peptides are so easy to take. They're tasteless, odorless, and mix great with my morning coffee. Read thousands of 5-star reviews at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Level up your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, the official guest host of the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, Executive Director of the Tennessee Conservative Coalition, Aaron Goldman. Aaron, it's that time of day again. It's time for News Potpourri. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, News Potpourri. This is the portion of the program where we talk about those stories that are of note, don't necessarily merit a full segment, and may have a touch of
irony.
Well, you've got a good one for us.
I do. I have an ex post by our great Secretary of State, plus 15 other jobs, Marco Rubio, where he posted, "I do not normally respond to online rumors, but feel the need to do so at this moment. I will not be a candidate for the currently vacant head coach and general manager positions with the Miami Dolphins. While you never know what the future may bring, right now my focus must remain on global events and also the precious archives of the United States of America. Thank you."
Read that. Read that. Is the head coach position open?
Apparently.
Did Mike McDaniels get fired? I didn't see that, but
could be.
But might be. Of course, John Harbaugh. Do you see that? The Ravens fired John Harbaugh?
Yep, and the president immediately rose to his defense. Yep.
Well, it's crazy. The guy's been there 18 years. He's got a winning percentage of .615. And, rookie kicker misses a 44-yard field goal at the very last second of the last game, and they miss the playoffs, and they fire him? That's just crazy. He's going to be. Look, if we were so lucky in Tennessee, if we didn't have an awful owner, maybe he'd come and be the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. That would be an upgrade by far.
It's you or I being the head coach of the
I know.
The Tennessee Titans are not a. It's okay as a Dallas Cowboys fan. Their GM hasn't been very good for a long time.
Here is an interesting post from a fellow by the name of Andrew Lockenouth with the Finance Newsletter. An entire generation under the age of 30 with heavy debt from going to expensive colleges, they're now realizing that getting good jobs will never be within their reach. Society isn't ready for the consequences of this. A generation with zero stake in the system would rather burn it all down. I think there's a problem here. And look, the problem is that a lot of kids have gone to college on false pretenses.
Yep.
And they've paid an awful lot of money. They got huge debt, and they come out and they don't have a skill set that the market will compensate them for. I understand that, and I understand why some of these younger people think, well, the way to do this is burn it all down and let's go for socialism. No,
true,
not going to work.
Did you so you saw the president's executive order taking the United States out of about 60 international organizations? Talk about America first and being anti-woke. Well, Macron,
in France,
the French president, had a response, and among other things, said that the President Trump is, quote, destroying the world order. That's what we voted for here in the United States.
Hey, Macron, buddy. That's what we voted for.
The only world order Aaron has been a fan of is the New World Order from WCW WWE that consisted of Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Hollywood Hulk Hogan. But Trump is, and that's going to save us a fair amount of money and stop our taxpayer dollars from supporting a fair amount of wokeism there.
Here's a report from Iran where there's apparently lots of protesters, and in some cities they've taken over. They've taken over parts of Tehran. And they've renamed a street there after Donald Trump.
Do we officially call the new Western Hemisphere doctrine the Don Road doctrine? Is that official yet?
You know what? I think that's probably the way to go. Wouldn't you say?
I think
it's fairly muscular, but very effective. And the Monroe Doctrine was a good idea, and it was enforced, but it was not enforced in the way that the Donroe Doctrine is being enforced, right?
No, his foreign policy wins are actually just
spectacular.
There's so many of them too that you lose track of them. But
what's the over under on when the United States takes over Greenland?
Let's see. I think there will be some sort of agreement reached at some point in the next 9 months, I would say.
I think before the end of 26, there will be an agreement of some sort. And it's basically going to look like, apparently we have the ability right now to put a whole bunch of military bases there based upon a Cold War agreement with Denmark.
It's kind of funny. The president has been very consistent on his ideology and with the things that have bothered him over his pretty much the entirety of his public life, right? If you look at statements made in the 80s, he talked about the Panama Canal, things like that. And I feel like in certain cases, it's like, okay, that's bothered me for a while. Let's go fix it, right? So, we take out, get rid of Maduro without a single loss of American life, which... he was, and it has been pointed out, I think, that the Biden administration put a bounty on
$25 million
on Maduro.
Dollars, not pesos.
Darn it, I knew there was something I should have did last weekend. But I mean, I think it's entirely possible to see Cuba Libre at some point in time.
I think I agree with that as well. By the way, the former ambassador to Denmark, which claims it owns Greenland. What's the basis of that claim, by the way? It's a Western Hemisphere country, a European country. It's a long story. Anyways, Carla Sands will be here with us on Monday in hour 3 to talk about that. There are, 57,000 people who live in Greenland. The fact that 57,000 people live in Greenland, which is in the Western Hemisphere, tells me we're going to buy it, basically.
I think that's what's going to happen.
And on that note, Aaron Gulbinson, thank you so much for joining us today. It's always fun to have you here.
Well, just disappointed that Marco Rubio won't be the head coach of a football team anytime soon.
All right, up next, Rob Carson. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And then I'm only going to be here tomorrow for half the program. The second half of the program, E.J. Haas will be here. And then Roger Simon will be here with me from hour 1 and hour 2. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for joining us.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com. Listen to Michael Patrick Leahy and make America great again.
FlatFeeNashville.com is a full-service real estate brokerage that charges homeowners a upfront flat fee of $999 to completely list, market, and sell your home. We are all about saving consumers money, saving that equity. Nobody should hire an agent and feel like when that agent walks in the door, that agent is more concerned about the down payment on their next Mercedes purchase versus saving the equity that those homeowners have worked hard for. I've spent my entire career in ensuring that the equity that people save and they put into their monthly mortgage every single month, as much of that as we possibly can goes back to them when they go to list and sell that home. The idea is to give homeowners the ability to really create generational wealth.
FlatFeeNashville.com, FlatFeeNashville.com.